The Hejaz Railway was a narrow-gauge railway that ran from Damascus to Medina, through the Hejaz region of Saudi Arabia, with a branch line to Haifa on the Mediterranean Sea. It was a part of the Ottoman railway network and was built to extend the line from the Haydarpaşa Terminal in Istanbul beyond Damascus to the holy city of Mecca. It got no further than Medina, 400 kilometers short of Mecca, due to the interruption of the construction works caused by the outbreak of World War I. Damascus to Medina is 1,300 kilometers. The main purpose of the railway was to establish a connection between Constantinople, the capital of the Ottoman Empire and the seat of the Islamic Caliphate, and Hejaz in Arabia, the site of the holiest shrines of Islam and the holy city of Mecca, the destination of the Hajj annual pilgrimage. Another important reason was to improve the economic and political integration of the distant Arabian provinces into the Ottoman state, and to facilitate the transportation of military forces. The railway had no debt when completed. Many miles of the track lie below sea level. History. Construction. A railway had been suggested in 1864 to relieve the suffering of the Hajis on the 40-day journey through the wilderness of Medina, the Nafud, and the Hejaz Mountains. The railway was started in 1900 at the behest of the Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid II and was built largely by the Ottomans, with German advice and support. A public subscription was opened throughout the Islamic world to fund construction. The railway was to be a waqf, an inalienable religious endowment, a charitable trust. Before the construction, German military advisor in Istanbul Ula Pasha estimated that the transportation of soldiers from Istanbul to Mecca would be reduced to 120 hours. The Berlin to Baghdad railway was built in the same time. The railways were interrelated and aimed to strengthen the authority of the empire over Arab provinces. Another intention was to protect Hejaz and other Arab provinces from British invasion. Arrival in Medina. Under the helm of Chief Engineer Muqtabeh, the railway reached Medina on September 1, 1908, the anniversary of the Sultan's accession. Compromises had to be made in order to finish by this date, with some sections of track being laid on temporary embankments across wadis. In 1913, the Hejaz railway station was opened in central Damascus as the starting point of the line. Attacks on the railway. The Emir Hussein bin Ali, Sharif of Mecca, viewed the railway as a threat to Arab suzerainty, since it provided the Ottomans with easy access to the garrisons in Hejaz, Asia, and Yemen. From its outset, the railway was the target of attacks by local Arab tribes. These were never particularly successful, but neither were the Turks able to control areas more than a mile or so either side of the line, due to the locals' habit of pulling up wooden sleepers to fuel the campfires. Some sections of the track were laid on iron sleepers. World War I. During World War I, the German army produced shale oil from the Yarmouk oil shale deposit to fuel locomotives operating on the railway. The line was repeatedly damaged in fighting during the war, particularly at the hands of the guerrilla force led by T.E. Lawrence during the Arab Revolt, which ambushed Ottoman trains. The Turks built a military railway from the Hejaz line to Beersheba, opening on October 30, 1915. World War II. In World War II, the Samic line from Haifa to Daraa at the Syrian border and to Damascus was run for the Allied forces by the New Zealand Railway, Group 17th Rock from Afula, with workshops at Daraa and Haifa. The locomotives were 1914 Borsa and 1917 Hauptmann models from Germany and Breda from Italy. The line, previously operated by the Vichy French, was in disrepair. Trains over the steep section between Samak and Daraya were 230 tons maximum, with 1,000 tons moved in 24 hours. The group also ran 60 miles of branch line, including a full at Tulkarm in the 1960s. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire in 1920, the railway did not reopen south of the modern Jordanian-Saudi Arabian border. An attempt was made in the mid-1960s, but this was abandoned due to the Six-Day War in 1967. Current status: 2 connected sections of the Hejaz Railway are in service, from Amman in Jordan to Damascus in Syria as the Hejaz-Jordan Railway and the Shumada-Ferda Hejaz-Syri, from phosphate mines near Amman to the Gulf of Aqaba as the Aqaba Railway. Workers on the railway have restored many of the original locomotives. There are 9 steam locomotives in Syria and 7 in Jordan in working order. Since the accession of King Abdullah II, relations between Jordan and Syria have improved, causing a revival of interest in the railway. The train runs from Qadam station in the outskirts of Damascus, not from the Hejaz station, which closed in 2004. Pending a major commercial development project. On 4 February 2009, the Turkish Transport Minister Binali Yildirim said in Riyadh regarding plans to rebuild the railway line, the plan envisages restoration and modernization of the railway line by the Turkish government within its territory, while it calls on Syria and Jordan to rebuild the sections of line. On the Saudi side, they have an ambitious plan to set up railway projects. So, when these 4 countries come together, the entire project would be completed. Small non-operating sections of the railway track, buildings and rolling stock are still preserved as tourist attractions in Saudi Arabia, including the Medina terminus, restored in 2005 with railway tracks and locomotive shed. The old railway bridge over the Aqiq Valley, though, was demolished in 2005 due to damage from heavy rain the year before. Trains destroyed during the Arab Revolt of 1916 to 1918 can still be seen where they fell. Israel Railways is rebuilding the long-defunct Haifa extension, the Jezreel Valley Railway, using standard gauge, with the possibility of extending it to Irbid in Jordan. Completion is anticipated in 2016. In 2009, Jordan's transport ministry proposed a 990-mile $5 billion rail network, construction of which could begin in the first quarter of 2012. The planned network would initially provide freight rail links from Jordan to Syria, Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Ultimately, passenger rail connections could be extended to Lebanon, Turkey and beyond. The government, which will fund part of the project, is inviting tenders from private firms to raise the rest of the project cost. In 2008, the Museum of the Rolling Stock of Al-Hejaz Railway opened in Damascus Qadam station after major renovations for an exhibition of the locomotives. Trains run from Qadam station on demand. The northern part of the Zabadani track is no longer accessible. There is a small railway museum at the station in Mada Sala, and a larger project is the Hejaz Railway Museum in Medina, which opened in 2006. Image gallery.